Details will be recovered that you may have passed over the first time. Details will be realized that you could have been in too much passion, emotion, impulse, pressure, confusion to take notice of. Sagittarius is where we get grace to explore, to find out what it means, to test the spirit to see what is it about. And with Mercury retrograde, Mercury picks up fine details to weigh, examine, and consider. This can come in a cognitive recollection. It can come by phone call, conversation. This can manifest as a person who notices what you didn't notice, or who suggests what you may not have understood to consider. So this is where you are going to get all of the details that leads you to your own ideal and concept of success and freedom. You already have a concept of success and freedom for yourself, and Mercury is going to recover those details so that you can have the missing pieces and components that allows it to become a reality. Understand? So this is a time where we want to be receptive. We want to be on listening mode. We want to make sure that we are good listeners during this time. Have conversations with people. It doesn't mean that you should tell all your dreams, tell all your plans. I never would recommend to do that. You have to be careful in doing those things. But it is a time to be open and receptive and inviting to different ideas and possibilities. Keep an open mind. This is a time to keep an open mind. This is also a time to test and try. Give the effort. Do what you didn't do. Try what you haven't tried. Test. Test drive. See what it's all about. These details can come in ways that you really least expect, especially siblings, especially neighbors, because this does deal with Mercury. So especially pay attention to what your siblings, your neighbors, or those of your community, your close-knit community, would suggest to say to you out of love, compassion, concern, or interest in whatever you have going on, all right? So with that being said, let's look into Sagittarius Mercury retrograde insights to see, okay, what can we expect right now? Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius. Retrograde in Sagittarius until December 15th. December 15th. What's also significant is Venus in Capricorn. Venus in Capricorn. These details are not to be overlooked or missed. Now, holiday season. Certainly a lot of travel is being planned. Mercury ruling short distance travel. The details of travel. The information and communications that goes into travel. Sagittarius long distance travel and affairs. We could expect that there could be delays, inconveniences, setbacks, unexpected circumstances and events as it relates to travel. So, we can prepare mentally, emotionally for these possibilities. Prepare. having acceptance for whatever it is that manifests, accepting gracefully. And take joy in being a reminder that we're more than likely to come together, family, friends, loved ones, people who you haven't seen in a very long time. Some will be around people who they were trying to avoid. And some will be greeting people who they really missed and longed to see for a long time. A lot of love, hopefully. We shouldn't have any doubts that this will project mirrors around us. Remember that Mars concentration for the rest of the year is in Cancer. Dipping into Leo in the present, Cancer is the emphasis. With Cancer being the emphasis of this time period, family is a priority and theme in how we are entering a new awareness towards a new reality, a new timeline that we are already in. Family is foundational for how we realize what it's going to mean. Cancer most certainly rules the family dynamic, the culture of family. The culture of family. Mars has been concentrating in Cancer, dipped into Leo to give a personal sense of vitality about our own heart space and expression, apart from that which we've been conditioned to or influenced by, especially our ancestral origins. Being able to discern whether or not I am aligned sincerely with myself, even though my ancestral origins may have included some generational curses, to be quite frank. These are real situations. Cancer Mars, there has been righteous anger in us concerning our inner child. And it's not something that we're aware of unless we choose to be intentional about listening, weighing, receiving, and accepting the messages that are there within us. Not trying to quiet it, but lending an open ear to what inner child has to say. And righteous anger is a sweeping, common attitude. With Mars dipping into Leo, for a little while, we may have forgotten about some of this righteous anger. It's still there latent. And the origins of this has to do with the culture that your emotional basis, that your societal connection, where it originates from, rather your household, family, or close loved ones who are just like family. Something or someone programmed your emotional disposition and the culture that you represent yourself in, the culture that you padded your reality from. Inside of that, we started to get bed bugs, understand, rashes, needles in the bed sheets, okay? In a place where we're supposed to have security, emotional security, especially rest, peace, harmony, quiet of mind. We were finding that as we got closer to recovering our sincere and authentic identity, It seemed to make friction with our origins. It seemed to make friction with our origins. And the frustration, discontent, or anger inside, oh, where is this coming from? What does this mean? If we bother to slow down and ask the question, now why am I bringing this up? I'm bringing this up because family and loved ones who we are most likely to be close to during the holiday seasons, they bring a mirror of all of these Cancer Mars themes that are finding or frustrated to find the nipple inside of us. It's like a frustrated baby. And I say baby because this is Cancer. Cancer represents the divine connection of the mother and child, the sacred umbilical cord. It represents the sacred value and symbol, the archetype of the breast that comforts, the breast that nurtures. And the child, the baby, the vulnerable one, the defenseless one, the weak one, the meek one, the one who needs and requires and demands advocacy, inner self, inner being. Wherever that reality manifests for you, where you feel defenseless or helpless, understand. You're searching for the nipple. A frustrated baby. I can't find the nipple. And that baby is crying and it's screaming, and it looks like anger. It looks like, what's wrong with this person? Why are they so frustrated? Why are they so angry? This is how it began, at least. As Mars made its first pass through Cancer, it presented itself as anger. While coming into Leo, it picked up expression. Because Cancer represents the emotional disposition of the inner child, which requires emotional security and nurturing. Understand? And its vulnerability. And Leo represents the need to express, the demand for expression. I need a way to express myself. I need a place to express myself. I have to express myself by all means, in any way I can. I need to express myself. This is the concentration with with Mars and Leo. Leo also highlights the heart space, fifth house, the heart, where our talents and our gifts, that which gives us joy and fulfillment, that which lights us up with illumination internally. Mars has been advocating within us to pick all of those gifts and jewels up of self-expression. And that self-expression gives a voice to the new person that has been redeemed, or the original person that has been redeemed. Your true identity, first house, Mars. Mars, Aries, understand. This is where the North Node is now finishing, giving you the fruits of the labor of the North Node transit over 18 months. Now it's ready to express itself. It's like a new baby that comes through the birth canal, and the first thing it does, it screams. It screams, it screams. That's the first thing we are doing in our new reality. We are screaming. We are crying for the nipple. Where can I get nurturing and comfort so that this new person, this new form that I finally made my way back to, the real self, the original self that I made it back to, now I need to nurture this self. And I also need to give this self a voice. Looking back in hindsight, the tight space of the womb, the tight space of the birth canal, and what we had to come through to become born again. This is Mars, Ogun, god of war, god of iron, who descended from the hill, covered in blood and covered in fire. Understand? That's you, first house. So I'm saying this to say, Cancer is still the leading theme for the rest of the year. And being around loved ones and family who help to program the culture that you used to be born, before that you realize you were betraying yourself, before you realize that you could have been neglecting yourself, before you realize that self was still waiting to be nurtured and given a voice, still waiting to be heard, still waiting to be advocated for. You reconnected with that. And now family is a different feel, a different reality, a different experience. It's not for me to say good or bad, but it's going to be different. And some people do the work and some people don't. And those who do the work are going to understand you. Those who don't do the work are not going to understand you. Because we have to remember two worlds. There has been a split. Just as a cell splits to continue the process of life, a sign of life is that cells continue to split. So likewise, the worlds continue to split. And some people of their own free will chose to stay in the past timeline because they were not ready to evolve, to ascend. And you're going to find that within your household, figuratively, there are some who chose not to. And you will be approached and you will be acknowledged according to that old world theme from those individuals. And it's going to be a mirror that reflects back to you how far you've come. And that person will be like a ghost roaming around in your reality of new life, still attached to the old life. And it's not for us to judge that, but to count your progress and to have compassion and patience for those who have not chosen to ascend into the new world, embracing their authentic identity. The authentic identity is most certainly represented with Aries, your Aries placement, your first house. The resilience of this identity is in Scorpio and the 8th house. Understand this, Mars. And you will not walk it without infamy, because Ogun begat fire, and to beget fire is to beget infamy. That means everywhere you go, there is infamy, because you finally learn to be yourself. And everyone can't handle you being yourself. Do you accept it? It doesn't mean to start trouble. It doesn't mean to be a troublemaker. It means to be your own advocate. It means to accept yourself even when others do not accept it. Even when others reject you, dislike you, talk behind your back, look at you funny. Be your authentic self. Don't betray inner child. Don't betray your heart. Leo. Understand. Leo is where you are meant to shine. It's where you are meant to be. the source of light and warmth. We are not meant to be a sun that burns and consumes those around us, but we are meant to give warmth to those around us, an illumination, which represents confidence, strength, clarity, joy. Understand? And this happens through us being ourselves, authentic. And when we have accepted ourselves authentically, we don't have the need, the urge to be aggressive and being contrary to others. Because in accepting ourselves, we understand to accept others also for who they choose to be. And our expression comes out naturally, without aggression, authentic, carrying the vibration of mutual acceptance. That's who you choose to be. If you're happy with it, I'm happy with it too. Understand? So, again, highlighting, there will be travel, obviously, getting together, family, love, these things. Look for the mirrors. Look for the mirrors and pay attention. If there is frustration, if there is anger, if there is insult, things of that nature that we feel, don't make the mistake of making it about the other person. Just remember, it's all about you. What a person says or does to make you feel a certain way, why does it make you feel that way? Why does it get you unraveled? Why does it make you angry? Why does it get you to the point where you can't restrain yourself? Why does it make you cry? Why does it make you run away? Why does it make you avoid this person or this situation? What is it about you that has you incapable of enduring it peacefully? Why don't you have the tools, the techniques, the skills to meet that person's disposition with? What skill set do you need to meet that person with? It doesn't mean that you have to stand there and coexist with every person that gives you an unhappy experience with them. But it does mean we're not to miss the opportunity to surveillance ourselves, to realize what we have or what we need to obtain. If every time I'm around this person, I get this bad feeling and I just get unraveled, I get upset, I'm angry, I'm getting out of control and all these different things, there's a skill set that I'm missing. There's a spiritual technology that I'm missing. There's an understanding about myself that I'm missing. There's an insight of my power and my authority that I'm missing. Remember, power and authority. Authority moves power. When you have authority, you don't have to overdo it with power. And overdoing it with power looks like overbearance. If we find ourselves being overbearing at any time, we are not using authority. And authority is not to control others, but it's to control self in such a way as where your reality is preserved as apart from their reality and how it affects you. Understand, you remain the creator of your fate and destiny, just as they remain creator of their fate and destiny, and you use your own consent to choose what you will co-create or not with a person. You have your boundaries. Understand? Saturn is moving over familiar territory. And with Saturn moving over familiar territory, there are going to be themes of boundaries. There are going to be themes of strength, authority, consent, obedience, and emotional pressure. Obedience and emotional pressure. Learn he obedience through the things that he suffered. We are going to be reminded of what authority is all about. Authority does not get caught up in power struggles. Authority does not go back and forth, losing its character. And authority has nothing to do with controlling other people. Remember, no one can make you create or co-create. You have free will to use your power for what you choose. And we have wisdom to make that clear. And we have compassion and understanding, intuition, to feel our way through the right words and delivery. Understand? We are masters now. And we have to be masters. Be. Exemplify. Demonstrate. So my grandmother once said, you may be the only Bible that somebody reads. Your character. Let someone bear witness to understanding of self, knowledge of self, and demonstration. Let somebody witness it in you. Teach through what you do. Teach through how you do. Being unpredictable. Understand? Preserving your mystery. Coming from love and understanding, coming from compassion. That's the high ground. If we let someone get us angry, if we let someone get us indignant, out of control, we're losing. We're giving our power away. We're having no authority over ourselves and over the experience, the reality. We are to have authority over the reality. Understand? Saturn is moving through Pisces. Subconscious material has already been exercised because Saturn just came out of retrograde and is moving through degrees that you have already exercised your way through under the coaching of Saturn. 10 more push-ups, 2 more miles, 3 minutes on the bag. Saturn exercised you on these degrees already. So as you go back through these degrees, you are going to get a glimpse of your progress live. So this is a beautiful opportunity as you are surrounded by others, possibly, to see where your progress is at. Places where you didn't have the ability or the strength to say no, you're finally going to have a no, and it's going to be effortless. Places where you didn't have boundaries before and you allowed your power to create and initiate creation or co-creation of an experience or outcome with a person, you now are aware that this is a moment or instance of creation or co-creation, and you have the authority to use your consent to create or co-create at any given time. And you are finally aware of it. Staying authorized. Moving power with authority and not force, not impulse. Understand? You are going to see a side of yourself that you didn't know was already formed. Keyword form. Saturn is what gives form. 10th house, character. That which we have the capacity to inherit as duty and responsibility. 10th house. You have a greater capacity because you have cleared demons from your 12th house. You have cleared shadows by forcing light and illumination into your 12th house. You have identified and named leagues of spirits, curses, and covenants. And you have broken many chains. You have set yourself free in many ways. You have faced demons and fears, guilt, addictions, and you set yourself free. You've done all of the dirty work. You've done the difficult work. Saturn made sure that you did. Now you're going to be able to see how much freed up space you have in your subconscious. The subconscious has to be clear to say no without feeling guilty. To tell the person how much or how little, if asked for a measure. To be aware of your decision and your authority and consent in any matter, that you don't have to do this or you don't have to buy into that. You don't have to laugh at that joke. You don't have to agree with that opinion. You don't have to show up in the way that they love to see you show up. You're allowed to be yourself. Even in infamy, you are allowed to be yourself. And you're going to see that you're finally comfortable with it, that you finally accept yourself because your conscience is clear. Saturn cleared your 12th house subconscious. It's clear. You've overcome many demons. And you're going to find now that there is a difference. And you're going to understand why it's different. Oh, before I didn't know how to tell this person what I thought. I didn't know how to tell this person what I felt. I didn't know how to say no. I kept playing the victim and, oh, it's your fault. It's this person's fault. Or you made me do this or you made me do that. Now I see I am the one with the authority in my life. And I choose what I experience or not. I choose what comes forth from my hands and my tongue or my feet. I choose that. And this time I'm going to be intentional. You're going to see that you have that authority now. This is why relationships are everything in this planet of Earth. Without relationships, we have no self-realization. We have no confirmation of who we are and what we've become. The other person is the only true mirror that we have. You could take all the claim that you want of what work you do, what you've overcome, what you've accomplished. Oh, I've been celibate or abstinent, and I've been fasting and praying and eating vegetables and lighting candles, whatever. Doing push-ups, reading books, praying, chanting, meditating. But until you are in a relationship or until you interact in relationship with others, you do not know your status. You do not know how much progress you have made. You do not know what level you are on. It takes a relationship. And it doesn't only mean romantic necessarily or intimate, that is. Even in business. Even your colleagues at work. Your next door neighbor. The person behind the cash register. Every interaction reveals where you're at. Understand? People are mirrors. It's a house. Earth is a house of mirrors. That's what Earth is. This planet is a house of mirrors reflecting right back to you, your status. So you know how you're evolving. I think you get that point. Now, what I wanted to go over is Venus. Venus, she is the lordess of our relationships until they become intimate, and then Pluto takes over, okay? But she governs our access to relationships and what we experience with it. Also our finances, okay? So with that being said, it's quite significant that Venus is in Capricorn, okay? With Venus being in Capricorn, this is a blessing for us because through Capricorn, we won't get carried away through our astral body. It allows us to stay sober as we experience other people. It allows us to stay cool, calm, collective, and with a clear sight, a mature disposition about our resources, about our desires, about the decisions that we're making, and about the relationship terms that we're engaging in and what it really means and what the outcome can be. We are looking through a lens of infrastructure concerning our astral body, because our astral body can get carried away. I like how this feels. I like how this looks. I like how this tastes. I like how this smells. I want to experience again. I want to experience more. I want to feel that way again. I want to feel more. And then we get carried away. We blow the bank. We create or co-create a regret. We wake up Saturday morning and don't know this person's name. Venus can get us carried away. But through Capricorn, she's not going to do that. She's not going to do that. She's taken a detached disposition in how she observes the palette, the marketplace of family, of resources, of abundance that is accessible to her, personalities, friends, loved ones, whoever else. Yeah, that's a handsome guy. Yeah, that's a beautiful girl. But Capricorn has you to observe it and then apply what you're observing to your infrastructure, circumstances, and character, the responsibilities that you have, and to make sure that you're not going to bite off more than you can chew. So we're being done a favor in these holiday seasons that Venus is in Capricorn. She's making sure we're not biting off more than we can chew. Now in the shadow, okay, hopefully we're not in shadow. And what I mean by shadow is, if we make the mistake of not pouring into ourselves, nurturing ourselves, making sure that our eyes and our ears are receiving illumination, eating healthy, thinking good thoughts, okay, exercising, all of this brings illumination into the spirit, all of this. Rubbing your dog's back and playing with your dog, playing with kids or whatever, elders, all these good things of life, it brings illumination. But when we lack illumination with Capricorn, it could run into competition, greed, the ahrimanic impulses, excessive lust, okay? It could turn into these things. It could get very dark very quickly. So what can really happen here is you could find yourself stuck in the old world in these same familiar vibrations that we came out of. So it could go either way. You don't want to become a ghost or a phantom of the old world because you lost your identity. You don't want that. Stay illuminated. Stay in the light. Be light. Be the light. Not in the dark. Entertaining fear, guilt, jealousy, animosity, hatred, greed, insecurities, these things. No. We were supposed to work through that. That's why Saturn went through Pisces. Understand? You know what you was dealing with. Look at your 12th house. Yeah. You was cleaning that spilled milk up. Understand? You was cleaning up that spilled milk. Know that. What else we got going on here? Right? Juno is at Scorpio. Juno is at Scorpio. So Juno is making sure that, listen here, no matter what's going on, I'm dedicated and committed to my own instincts. I'm going to let my instincts guide me through. I'm trusting my own instincts. Scorpio says, who do I trust? Me. That's who. Okay? So Juno and Scorpio is saying, I got us. Self, I got us. I'm who I'm listening to. I'm who I'm believing. I am who I'm trusting. That's Scorpio Juno. Understand, right? Also, it's staying committed to your own personal power, refusing to give your power away ever again. I am not giving my power away. I'm not giving my power to you. And how do you do that? Through authority. Understand? Okay? Juno has a very clear sight of a lot of work that we were passing through in Scorpio. Remember, we had a Scorpio new moon at the same time that Mercury was there. Okay? That's the balance of the heart and the mind. Wisdom. So that wisdom is there, and Juno is clinging to that wisdom. This is how we walk forth with Scorpio, Mary Magdalene as a disciple. Mary Magdalene is your disciple while Juno is in Scorpio. And what Mary Magdalene does, she has an ear to the street because she comes from the streets. And what I mean by come from the street is the culmination of dark energies that you pass through is with you, informing your instincts on what decisions to make, so that your integrity and so that your security is not compromised at any time, so that your constitution reigns supreme over your reality and not somebody else's, so that there's no invasion, astral invasion of other people's consciousness and terms coming into your encampment. Understand? Because you're the king of your castle and you're the queen of your castle, divine self. Understand? Let's get that right. Let's get that right. Juno is also keeping us in sight of what really matters through Scorpio. Because through Scorpio, it's like, if this ain't going nowhere, I ain't got time for that. If you ain't serious, yo, don't call me. Don't knock on my door. I'm not here to play games. I ain't no fucking joke. What you think this is? Fuck I look like? Homie the clown? Understand? Boo Boo the fool? So we're walking now with an eye for war. Juno and Scorpio, yeah, you got the warrior's mentality. Finger on the trigger. You already got the purple latex glove on, holding your finger on the trigger. Understand? You ready, you ready, you want the smoke. You know what I mean? That's what that is. You will not infiltrate my identity. You will not attempt to take my power. You will not attempt to dismantle what I had to build and construct through pain and tears and blood. No, you won't. Or you going to catch these hands, figuratively. Understand? You know what I mean? That's what's going on with that. So this keeps us from getting caught up in gas, getting caught up in vapor, getting caught up in, foolishness, distractions, things that are not sincere, grounded, stable, real, devoted and committed. No, thank you. That's Scorpio. Scorpio don't get into light, frivolous things. Okay? If it ain't real, no. You remember that old school Wu-Tang Method Man? We said, no OJ, no straw. When you give it to me, kid, give it to me raw, I'll burn. You know what I mean? Give it to me raw. Scorpio is, raw. You know what I mean? No coke, no chaser, no nothing. Raw. Understand? No coke, no chaser. I'm ready for it. I'm resilient. I can handle the truth. And you better not lie to me. You know what I mean? That's what that is. But anyway, looking at chart here, you know what I mean? Making sure I don't miss any details. So the sun is also a Sagittarius season. This is the season where we in the high court. All right? Let me run that down. We in the high court. All right? Libra is the first court. That's the court of the earth where justice is determined by man, court systems, the people, yada, yada. Scorpio is the second court. Okay? That's the court of eye for eye, tooth for tooth. That's the court of I will get my justice. I ain't waiting on no court. I ain't waiting on no people. No, I'm going to handle that. Understand? That's the court of self. The court of instinct, Scorpio, gets stung, right? So now Sagittarius is the high court. This is the court of divine justice. This is where truth exposes the passion of truth. Truth spoken loud with spit flying out your mouth and veins poking out your neck. You know what I'm saying? Like being put on blast. All right? Hot, passionate truth. Like the preacher, you know what I'm saying, sniffed a line of coke and got in front of the pulpit. Understand? Like real truth coming out, fiery. Now, this also is the high court because this is where God delivers justice. Okay? Through the power of Obatala, chief of the white cloth, father of Orishas, Jupiter. Okay? Jupiter delivers and administers justice. It recovers and reclaims what was stolen or lost. You know what I mean? This is where you're likely to see your enemy serve as a footstool for you. This is where, like I said last year, for some of you who were around, this is where Rikers Island party bus come and pick up, you know what I mean, the inmates. The court is out. Now the Rikers Island party bus is outside to pick up whoever got sentenced to jail. And you getting on the party bus. So people who was doing people wrong, doing people dirty, and was getting away with it in Libra court or Scorpio court because you decided not to take it into your hands, okay, the Supreme Court of Sagittarius might have a different outcome. And you end up in that party bus because karma come and got your ass. Because you was out here doing people greasy. You was moving grimy. You know what I'm saying? Doing dirty shit. You know what I mean? And so that can be administered, that justice. Understand? Because we might feel like we got away. Okay? But nobody gets away with anything. None of us get away with anything. No, we don't. We do not get away with anything. You know what I mean? There is forgiveness. But don't think that you just gonna get away with things without practicing forgiveness. Understand? You know what I mean? Self and others. So, now, what else we got going on here? All right, so that's the gist of things. You know what I mean? Know that here's something else, you know. Work on, you know, for all of us. Let's work on remaining vulnerable enough to grow. You know, remaining vulnerable enough to grow. I just think that I should have thrown that out there. Also, I challenge you and I challenge myself to be loving. Not to be weak, but to be loving. You know what I'm saying? To be understanding. In places where we usually would get frustrated, mad, pissed off at something somebody says or does, I challenge you and I challenge myself to stop time, to pause, to delay your reaction. Okay? Fly up, open your wings and fly up to that higher self. You know what I mean? Peep the situation from on top of a telephone pole at 400, you know what I mean? Go up 40,000 feet and peep the situation. Right? Look at the view. And I want us to start seeing the suffering behind those who trespass against us. See the suffering behind those who trespass against us. It's important. Because remember, as other people trespass against us, we also trespass against others. We also do the same thing. And if somebody could sit down and talk to us and say, hey, what was going on in your mind? Why did you do that? Right? You would explain something that probably anyone could relate to on why you would do it. It's the same with the other person. You know, we got to come from a higher place with these things. So I challenge all of us to do that, to come from a higher place. You know what I mean? And let everyone build their classroom. Some people may not want your advice. They may not want to hear it, right? They out here wilding. I get it. But let that person build their classroom. Don't interfere. Remember, your advice is an offer. It's not an obligation. Even to your children at a certain age. Once they reach a certain age. You know? It's not an obligation. And we can't manipulate other people emotionally because they rejected your advice. Give them grace. Let them build their karmic classroom. Because that's what they're going to learn from. Not you. If that's the case. You know what I mean? But we still have to love. Even if it's from a distance, we still have to love. You know what I mean? So, what I also want to say is, don't think that you're incapable of crushing and destroying generational curses because you can. And the likelihood of you doing so is most certainly in you suffering from what was already set into motion before you even got here. And you're being affected by it. Okay? And it might be that you were expected to destroy that generational curse, to release that covenant that somebody sold into the blood. You know what I mean? Don't underestimate that. Never underestimate that. Also, feminism is falling. The conservative woman is up. And we have to open our minds because this is not a limited subject of politics. It's a cosmic disposition. The polarity of Venus and Mars. And this is the time where the woman's identity will finally be embraced and honored. Because she went through things and experienced things as consequence of feminism that has initiated her into true enlightenment. Even though it was an ugly, difficult process, and it had consequences that brought out much chaos to be studied, investigated, and learned from. It did enlighten all of us. So, if you're a woman, a woman out there, know that this is your time where you and all women are going to have a return to the best representation of themselves, to the most authentic version of themselves. And it took for many things to fall down that were in the way of us arriving at this golden age of womanhood. And you're going to see that this is the case. A beautiful sisterhood is coming. And this applies to all nations, all flags. Okay? It's all nations, all flags. Women are about to be in a beautiful place with themselves after feminism has finally fallen and released that lesson, that karmic lesson that all of us have been affected by. We graduated from that experience, and now a new reality dawns, where she has real power, real authority, and it seeds from her identity. Understand? Not the envy or jealousy of her male counterpart, or without making it personal, without females being jealous of the destiny and fate of males. She will finally embrace her own identity and find its glory and honor within it. And it's a beautiful thing that we all can celebrate. This is what's coming. Understand? So, with that being said, like, share, subscribe, comment, all of that. Spread the love. And be sure to visit my website at astrologist.com. That is www.the-infamous-astrologist.com. You know what I mean? Go there, look around, see what it's about, show your support.